Welcome to Golf Smarter Mulligans, your second chance to gain insight and advice from the best instructors featured on the Golf Smarter podcast. Great golf instruction never gets old. Our interview library features hundreds of hours of game improvement conversations like this that are no longer available in any podcast app.
Yeah, I've worked with quite a few juniors that have gone on to play college golf. You know, I played a year of college golf myself back at Fort Lewis College, a little Division II school in Colorado, and was fortunate enough to be able to coach as an assistant golf coach at a very small NAIA school in Michigan, Siena Heights University. So I think I know what college coaches are looking for, what type of kids they're looking for, what kind of players they're looking for. Different programs are looking for different players, obviously. And then for junior golfers, I kind of know what they're looking at. What makes them pick a college, and what do they need to do to be good enough to play at the college level or achieve their goals? So, yeah, I'm kind of a hybrid. I'm kind of in the middle there, you know, both sides of it. Maybe an unofficial promoter of college golf and junior golf as a whole.
With another interview from the archives of Golf Smarter, here's your host, Fred Green.
This is a first in a two-part conversation with Brady Wilson, director of golf at the Classic Club in Palm Desert, California. Welcome to the Golf Smarter podcast, Brady.
Thank you for having me, Fred.
It's great to have you on, and I want to apologize that I promoted that you were the former head coach at Notre Dame, and I'm sorry, that is not the case. But you did.
No, that would be a tremendous honor. But unfortunately, no, that's not. We didn't do that.
Okay, but you did. You were associated with the University of Notre Dame and their golf program, their golf course.
Yeah, the golf course there, it's a championship golf course, the Warren Golf Course at Notre Dame. It was built in 1999, and I was there for 3 years. And obviously, it was the host course for the golf teams. So worked closely with both the men's and women's program there, and you know, we hosted the 2005 Central Regional for NCAA Central Regional there. So it was definitely, I was close to those programs and definitely big supporters of those teams and coaches and players, but I was not directly involved with them. No.
But actually, you have a unique perspective of being close enough to the program, but sitting on the outside of it to watch it as their program developed and as they had players coming in and out. So I guess you have an interesting perspective on how those things work. Plus, you've taught a lot of junior golfers, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I've worked with quite a few juniors that have gone on to play college golf, and you know, I played a year of college golf myself back at Fort Lewis College, a little Division II school in Colorado, and was fortunate enough to be able to coach as an assistant golf coach at a very small NAIA school in Michigan, Siena Heights University. So, you know, I have been on both sides of it. I think, you know, my perspective of college golf and junior golfers is I kind of know what college golf coaches. I'm friends with a lot of college golf coaches. You know, Joe Jensen at the University of Wyoming is a really close personal friend and a great person, runs a great program. And, you know, I think I know what college coaches are looking for. You know, they're all a little different, but they're looking for, you know, what type of kids they're looking for, what kind of players they're looking for. And then, you know, different programs are looking for different players, obviously. And then, you know, for junior golfers, I kind of know what they're looking at. You know, the junior generation now is what makes them pick a college, and what do they need to do to be good enough to play at the college level or achieve their goals. So, yeah, it's I'm kind of a hybrid. I'm kind of in the middle there, you know, both sides of it. Maybe, you know, an unofficial promoter of just college golf and junior golf as a whole.
Well, I think that's a fascinating topic because I know there's so many parents of, you know, who get their kids started playing golf early, and they have visions of you know, being greenside when their kid wins the Masters. You know, but here you were playing golf as a kid, and you came up and you said you played a D2 school when you played in college, correct? Was that
correct?
Right. So, but did you have hopes and visions of being able to play on a D1 program?
You know, I really didn't, because golf. I came to golf a little bit later. I didn't really dream of playing college golf or professional golf. I was a basketball coach and a basketball player, and I played tennis at a pretty high level. Wanted to play tennis in college, so I kind of had started at one school, and then when I wound up back in Fort Lewis is in my hometown of Durango, Colorado. When I wound up back there, they didn't have a tennis team, and there was kind of not a lot to do, so I started playing golf and found out I was pretty good at it, and then went out for the team, and I made the team. I didn't make the varsity squad, but I made the team, and it was fun to be a part of it. And now I'm looking at my whole career and where it's gone, and involvement with college golf and involvement with junior golf, and as a PGA professional here, at 35 years old, man, I wish I would have gotten a little bit more out of my college career, because there's nothing like it's so much fun. College golf is so much fun. It's such a rewarding experience, and if kids can go through that experience, it's whether they go on to play professional golf, or they go on to be a doctor, or they go on to do whatever, it's a special time. College golf is a special atmosphere.
I can't imagine talking to anybody who, most people don't, probably don't have regrets in life, but if they do, it's usually about what they didn't do in college.
Yeah.
I know that's the case for me. If I only studied that in college, or if I only took advantage of that program when I was in college, or if I only went to that college, that's probably quite common. But what is it? And I hate you, by the way.
Okay.
One of those athletes is like, oh, I'll try golf. Hey, I'm good enough. I made the team. Yeah. It's like, here's kids who've been playing since they're 6 years old. It's like struggling to get onto a team. What does it take for a high school student to get them prepared, or even for junior high going into high school because they want to play college golf? What do they need to do to get noticed by a college program? Because I can't imagine that there's a lot of not only positions on a varsity team, but scholarships on a team every year. What do they need to do to prep themselves?
Well, that's changed. That's changed over the last 10 to 15 years. I mean, it used to be, playing a few tournaments, write a letter to the coach. Hopefully they came and watched you play in a few events, and, and if he liked you, you went. But it's changed. If depending on the level, of course, if you want to compete at a high Division I level, you're going to start early, obviously, and you need to play in events. You need to play in AJG events. You need to play in FCWT events, Future Collegiate World Tour, and the AJGA, are rated, and ideally, if you're really at a high level, you need to try to get in the ranking systems to where you're ranked as a junior golfer. That'll ensure you. But if you're looking for that lower level or just an opportunity, or you're a late starter like myself, I think the biggest thing that high school golfers can work on to succeed at the next level, and what college coaches are looking for, that they need mature kids. They need kids that can handle themselves on a golf course, not get too high, not get too low, controlling emotions. Most of the time, if you're good enough to play college golf, it's going to be evident by your golf swing and your stroke and your scores. And, people are going to know, hey, he's good enough to play college golf. Okay, he shoots the score range, his score average is there. And that's one part of it. But, is that scoring average if you have a 72 scoring average, is that because you can shoot 65 and you can shoot 82 and no one knows what it's going to be? Or are you pretty consistent? I use the now, and it's changed. That's changed in junior golf. And this isn't a comment of what's right or wrong or better or worse, but we just had the Masters and the anniversary of Jack Nicklaus's 86 run, and he said the most arrogant, most cocky thing he ever said in his life was on 16 tee. He hit 5-iron, and it was in the air, and he just bent down, picked up the tee, and his son said, be right, and he said, it is, and and he almost aced that. He knew it was good when he hit it. But he wasn't over emotional. When you watched that live, you didn't know whether or not that he hit it bad or whether he hit it good. And then until the result happened, he held his emotions in check. I think of Greg Norman coming down the stretch when he was faltering with Nick Faldo and when that big collapse that Norman had. Norman had, you could see his body language, but he wasn't he still, he still had his emotions under control. The new generation, the Tiger generation, it's fist pumping, it's throwing the hat, it's a lot of emotions, which is great for the game. Positive emotion's always good, but there's negative emotion that comes with slamming your driver in the ground and swearing on TV. And, that's, when you're an emotional person, you're going to have positive emotion, you're going to have negative emotion. But I think curtailing that down into very subtle highs and very subtle lows is something that I think all college golf programs would like to see more of, because, that's just someone that is mature, and they're handling their game, and they're handling situations that can arise. And God knows, in a round of golf, a lot of things can come up.
Yeah. So it really is. What you're saying is to get into college, you need a high IQ sometimes, but to get into a college golf program, you almost need a high emotional IQ.
I would think you're going to be more successful with that. It's character a little bit, I know, but it's tough. It's tough for a junior golfer to not get down on themselves. That's one of the things I think, we're talking about is there's so much negativity sometimes out there with, and you just see the body language and the club drops, and it's just, Bob Rotella, great book, Golf's Not a Game of Perfect. Everyone knows that. He says in there, the most important shot in golf is the next one. Boy, if you can really teach that to kids, so what, you hit a bad shot, you gotta go hit it again, you might as well not worry about it. It's not like you can get it back.
Right.
So, I think if you can start living forward and moving forward on a golf course, and not living in the past and moving backward, and there's examples of that everywhere. Young Rory, I'm a big Rory McIlroy fan, and
I definitely want to get into. We're going all over the place here. I appreciate it. I definitely want to get into the McIlroy thing as we progress in this conversation. But I want to stay into the junior golf idea first, and I have a specific question. But actually, this is about the time where I need to say that this episode of the Golf Smarter podcast is brought to you by. Okay, we're going to get to McIlroy, I promise. But I do want to know, like, a high school player, should they be, if they want to be noticed, you were talking about being ranked, should they be playing on the high school team, or should they be out on the junior golf circuit competing at that level to try to be noticed by colleges?
It's a great question. I know tennis has fought this in high-level tennis participants in high school. There's some college coaches out there that I know have told some high-level junior tennis players, you're not getting any better playing and just beating up on really bad high school tennis players. You need to go out and play in junior tournament circuit. Yeah, that's out there. I think because for the majority of the country, junior golf tournaments and the tournament series and the events that they need to play in, the majority of those are during the summer. Okay. Because just the kids are out of school, they're not missing school. And usually summer months down south, you get better rates at golf courses for junior events. And, I know that takes a factor of where those junior events go. So, sure. Majority of the junior events are going to be through the summer, and then maybe a little bit during the Christmas break in warm weather climates. So high school golf, I think, is still very viable. I think going out and being the best player on your high school team or the second best player and playing in state championships, and you have a chance to be a team in a team environment, but you also have a chance to place as an individual, a medalist. I think saying you're a state champion at a Michigan state champion or Indiana state champion or a Colorado state champion or Southern California state champion, I think being able to say that on your college resume is still a very impressive thing. So sure. I think high school golf is still very strong, very viable. I'd keep an eye on it though. I think it is something that could that could change. If you're a real premier high school, even Paula Kramer came out of high school and, went to the LPGA, and, there's been a couple other success stories, young kids coming out and doing that. Golf's gotten so global that, it's a little different process overseas. So it seems like, Rory is 21. I know we're going to talk to him, but he's only 21. It seems like he's been on tour for 4 or 5 years now. You know what I mean? So, it's kind of one of those deals where I still think high school golf is very viable, and, but you still need to play in those summer events and build up your credibility and your ranking and your score average and all those things.
My son, my younger son, he wrestled in high school for 4 years, and I wasn't familiar with that sport at all. And you think of wrestling as an individual sport, like you think of golf. I was shocked at how important the team element was on the wrestling team. And what kind of value, because you mentioned, what it's like to be on a team, learn to be what's on a team, and so for golf, again, you think of it as an individual sport. You're out there playing against yourself. But what kind of value does participating on a team level in golf do for you when you're moving forward through, college and, with wrestling, once you finish college, if you even get to wrestle in college, if you even want to do that, you're pretty much done. But with golf, obviously, there's still ways to go that you can become a professional. Does the team element add that much to it? To your,
I think absolutely. And I think you're right in asking that question. I think it's something that people don't really understand. They think of golf as a very individual sport. I got a couple examples for you that are pretty obvious, but look how passionate the players are about the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup and the Solheim Cup. Look how passionate they are about that. Yeah. That's a team environment. Mm-hmm. Okay. Team golf is special. And I tell you the reason they're special is, I get to spend some time with the University of Wyoming when they were down here. They host their event here. And again, like I said, friends with Coach Jensen, we went to dinner one night, and I told him when we were walking out of dinner that night, I said, this is what I miss about coaching. Because I used to coach basketball at the college level. I said, this is what I miss about coaching. I miss this camaraderie, sitting around here and you got 5 guys that went out and played golf, and it's just, it's a little different, but it's just like your foursome that you go play golf with during the day, and you go into the 19th hole afterwards and have a beer and recount some of the good shots and some of the bad shots. They're doing the same thing in college golf, and if you think about it, when we talked earlier about, emotions and controlling, not getting too high, not getting too low, I tell you what, no one keeps you more centered than your teammates. You know what I mean? They're not going to let you get too high. And, sure. The other thing is, where do you turn when you need a little pick me up, right? You turn to your friends. You turn to, if you're struggling, you're going to turn, and you got somebody there in college golf. You got somebody there that, whether it's with your golf game or problems with your girlfriend or whatever, you got somebody there to go to, and I've seen it very divisive too. If you got a team of guys that don't get along or girls that don't get along, here's a true statement, right? Our golf games usually mirror our personal lives, right? So, if you have a good team atmosphere, whether you're a girls team or a guys team or a college team or a high school team, you're going to get better performance on the golf course out of those players than if it's divisive and, everyone's in it for themselves and no one's, so building that camaraderie is a very important part. And, taking it back to the Ryder Cup, I think that's why years and years and years when the Americans were a more talented team, but the European teams were closer knit. That's why I think the European teams were so strong. And, our recent success in the Ryder Cup with, like the Zinger team, that team was a very close-knit team. The Crenshaw team at Brookline, that was a very close-knit team. The team element of golf is really neat. It's really neat. It's really rare. Not a lot of people are aware of it, as you know, but it's really neat. It's something special, and that's, we talked earlier about college regrets. That's what I miss about coaching basketball. That's what I miss about, my college career, as brief as it was, is, just kind of that camaraderie, that atmosphere.
Because golf, especially professional golf, these guys are out trying to earn a paycheck. That's what gets them going from one place to the next. And
right.
and team golf, you say they're so passionate about it. Well, that's because it's not an ongoing thing. It's not like a traveling basketball team. Do you
right.
think there could be a place for professional team golf?
Or
is it just doing it once every other year is like, that's enough? And now it's coming to the Olympics, right?
Yeah. There might be something out there. I mean, there's, there might be. I never really thought about that. There might be. I mean, I know there's different little mini kind of tours that have tried different things, and I know that tennis tried that, right? The professional team tennis tried that. And it had a little run. I don't know. I don't know because the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour are so popular with
and so
golfers. I don't see the best players in the world going, you know what, I don't want to play individual golf. I'm going to go play team golf.
Good point. Good point.
So I don't know if the quality of play would be as good, but it is special. And I think honestly I think that's where college golf has its niche. I mean, I think, hey, that's something that college golf has that professional golf doesn't, right? College basketball versus NBA. There's something special about playing in halves and the NCAA tournament versus 7-game series and 4 quarters, So I think you got to find. I think that's what separates college golf and makes it unique.
Yeah, good point. It kind of like why MLS soccer will never have the power that the European soccer has, just because the best players aren't coming to the United States to play soccer.
Right.
So now let's get to Rory McIlroy and his meltdown at the Masters recently. So interesting. I mean, here's a kid who he led for 63 holes, and then the last 9 holes. He picked the wrong 63 to be the leader of. But he's so young? Yeah, he's been on the tour for a while, but he's still so young. And golf, you have to have a high emotional IQ. You have to understand the emotions and the mental game. Is it an issue that so many young kids that are technically proficient but don't have the emotional wherewithal to last and hold up? Is that what happened with Rory? He's just too young to hang on?
I don't know
from
about
your
that.
Perspective?
Well, here's my perspective on the Rory deal. First off and foremost, and this might be a little harsh. This might be the basketball coach in me. I've heard everybody for the last week talk about how classy he handled himself, and he did. But I hate the fact that people act like they're surprised. Okay. I think that he's supposed to handle himself that way. Okay. So yes, he handled himself very classily and with honor, and that's how he was supposed to handle himself after that. However, I'm a big fan of Rory, and I think that, watching that closely, listen, it's very easy to talk about it when none of us have been standing on 10T on Sunday at Augusta, okay? And there's a very select group that have been there, so they probably are more qualified to comment on it than anyone. But if you're asking my opinion, and I watched it very closely, he was not hitting the types of shots that he'd been hitting all week, starting on the front 9. He kind of survived it a little bit, but, he cut the one thin and hit the bunker and, on 2, and, he made par on 2, which is kind of it's like a half a bogey. And, he wasn't hitting it close. He wasn't swinging with confidence, and he was one of the few guys that didn't have his everyone travels with their swing coach now, and his swing coach was back in Ireland and doesn't travel. And, it kind of felt like he was a little bit on his own there. And I think it got very lonely for him. And then when the meltdown on 10 is where it really collapsed. You know, you kind of make the turn after 9. It didn't go his way he wanted. He's right there. You know what? You know, and we've all made the turn, right? The turn, it's a fresh 9. That 9's behind you. You know, we should be doing that with every shot. We should be doing that with every hole. But for some reason, when you turn off the front 9 and go to the back 9, it's like, okay, new life. All right.
Yep.
Well, you know, that was with one swing completely taken out of his sails. You know, and you know, he got aggressive, hit the tree. You know, I mean, there was just you know, if you went back and asked him, I bet you he would say that hole went really fast. Like, you know, and I think when things start to go wrong on a golf course, we've all been there, they happen really fast. Things speed up. And I think the best thing that he could have done would have just, I mean, he's in the last group. I mean, it's not like pace of play is an issue. I mean, CBS isn't going to turn off the TV if he's slow. Slow down, you know, and, you know, you're standing between two houses. Okay, how can I maybe have a putt at par and make no worse than a bogey and just get out of this hole, you know, and instead things got a little hairy and he wound up making triple, you know, and then from there it was just he was done, you know, and the short putt on 11, the short putt on 12, and then on 13T I thought he was going to cry, you know, and I felt so bad for him.
When he buried his head in his arms?
Yeah, I thought he was crying. I thought he was crying on the golf course, you know, and if you noticed, CBS didn't turn back to him until 18, when he was putting out. And I thought that was nice of CBS because, I mean, you don't want to just watch somebody.
Yeah, but it's still television. We love to watch train wrecks on television. That's why reality TV is going so well. It's kind of surprising they didn't go back to beat him up on it, you know?
Well, they would have stayed on him if he was competitive towards the end. But he was done at that point. He wasn't going to be a factor in the outcome. So,
yeah, and the back 9,
there were so many people involved.
Well, right, and the back 9 was such great television. I mean, it's just such an argument to why watching golf on television is so much better than being there live, because you just don't miss a shot. And it was so compelling. That back 9 was some of the greatest television I've ever seen, let alone a great Masters. It was remarkable.
But I am proud of the way he handled himself, and he talked about, hey, this will make me stronger, and I'll be back, and you know, and all that. And I'm proud of the way he handled himself, but I'm proud of the way he handled him that he did what he was supposed to do. Is kind of how I would say.
Well, he said something in the post-game interview that actually intrigued me, but we've kind of run out of time. So I'd like to ask you a favor, because this is a regular show. We do these interviews for about 30 minutes, and then on the second weeks, we have our Golf Smarter for members only episodes, and those sometimes go 30 minutes and sometimes they go an hour. So can we continue this conversation but make it a members only? Do you mind if you stick around for a little bit longer?
No problem.
All right. So then for our listeners, next week, part 2 of our conversation with Brady Wilson. Stay tuned.